Welcome to Keeping It Real with KC. I am your host, KC Phoenix, and this is another episode. This is my sixth episode today that I'm recording on Saturday. Today is August the 1st. But I might have this episode uploaded, set to play later. Maybe. I don't know. Depends on what my mood is. Let me get the housekeeping stuff out of the way. This episode won't be long. Housekeeping stuff, KIRWKC.com is the main podcasting website. It takes you there. All the podcast episodes are there, including the podcast only episodes. You'll know it's a podcast only episode by seeing the letters. Once you see the letters PCO right after the episode number, KIRWKC, Instagram, KIRWKC, Twitter, Facebook.com/KIRWKC. Swing by, give a like. It's much appreciated. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button followed by the notification bell. That way you will know when I upload a new episode. This is mostly a weekend show. I'm getting tongue-tied. You can tell I'm on my sixth episode today here. And if you're watching on Daily Motion, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And now the housekeeping stuff is out the way. And like I said, this won't be long. It's just, I think about things sometimes. My mind always goes off in certain places. And when people do things, do they do it out of obligation, or do they do it out of love? I'm not saying that the two cannot intersect. I'm not saying that. There may be situations, and there's not a may to it. There can be situations when someone does something out of obligation and out of love. The reason my mind goes to it is because love is a powerful, powerful thing. Real love, true love, is unconditional. Real love, true love, wants nothing in return. Doing something out of love will always override doing something out of obligation. If you, and I'm looking for an example in my head here. If you see someone in need, and because you love humanity, or you don't want to see someone suffer, and you do it out of love, that is a powerful thing. If you approach it from the lens, well, I have the resources, therefore, it's required of me to help. That doesn't mean as much. And that's how I personally feel about it. where by resources it can be money or whatever, but to keep it simple, we'll just say money. If someone has money and they allocate to certain charities or people based off of the mentality that is, I have all this money, so I'm obligated to do it, it doesn't mean as much. Because obligation is almost like you're saying you had to be programmed to do it. Where if you didn't have the financial resources, you wouldn't have done it. But if you are doing it out of love, even when someone doesn't always have the financial resources, they may do it anyway because it's done out of love, real love, true love. And as I said, whether it's a love for humanity or a love for an individual or a love for whatever. And real love, true love, never wants anything in return. It never does. It doesn't mean be used and have your cup drained. Learn how to refill your cup. Shameless plug. Check out that episode. But when something's done out of love, there isn't anything that the individual wants in return. The individual didn't have to be programmed to do it. They didn't have to feel obligated to do it. Love will always be greater than obligation. And I wish people would take time to examine their actions when it comes to interacting with others around them, to determine, are you doing this out of love or are you doing this out of obligation? You shouldn't feel obligated to do anything. And that's really the truth of it. One shouldn't feel obligated to do anything. If you do something, it needs to come from a place of love, not from a place of obligation. Because if it comes from a place of obligation, it means less. Yes, will it help whoever or whatever if you're doing it? Yeah, it will. It will achieve the end result. More than likely the same as love will. But will it mean the same? Absolutely not. Two people can do the exact same thing. One person can bring you a bottle of water because they felt obligated to do it. Another person can bring you a bottle of water because they love you or they love humanity. And they don't want to see you thirsty. The person who brought you the bottle of water out of love, that's the one that will always mean more. And it will not only When something is done out of love, real love, true love, when something is done out of pure love, it means more not only to the person that is receiving, it means more to the person that is giving. When you're doing something you feel you're obligated to do, it's like you're an android, a computer, like it's transactional. Like, oh, well, this person means this to me, so I have to do this. This person is related to me, so I have to do this. I'm obligated to. It's transactional. It doesn't mean anything. But if you do something out of love, regardless of whatever surrounds the situation, then it will mean more to you and it will mean more to them. If you ever go into a situation where you're doing something for somebody and you feel you are doing it because you are obligated and there isn't much love present, if at all, you might need to stop and decide if you want to do it at all. Because the person that you're doing this charitable action for may be better off by you not doing anything if it isn't coming from a place of love. It doesn't helping doing things for people shouldn't always be transactional with certain relationships. Now, if you go to the grocery store and the cashier rings up groceries, I'm not saying build a relationship with the cashier at the grocery store and try and insert love into that. I'm not saying that. So don't misinterpret. I'm saying when you interact with people for charitable situations, especially for charitable situations, you should do it out of love. And if a request is made of you, you honor that request out of love, not out of obligation. If you can't honor the request out of love, you'd be better off not honoring the request at all, because it doesn't help both parties. If you're doing it out of obligation, it's transactional. And when it comes to requests, don't be afraid to say no. Another shameless plug. Check out that episode. Make sure as many things as possible when you interact with people, whether it's people making requests of you or whether you're doing something for somebody, is coming from a place of love, not from obligation. And if there is obligation present, make sure that love overrides it. Because if it doesn't, it really doesn't mean anything, especially to the person who's receiving. Love always is greater than obligation. when it comes to obligation versus love. Love always is greater. Love always wins. And that's all I got. Thank you for watching this episode. I got a little tongue-tied earlier at the beginning, but now I'm getting my wits back with me. So yeah, KIRWKC.com is the main podcasting platform. KIRWKC, Instagram, KIRWKC, Twitter, Facebook.com/KIRWKC. Swing by and give the page a like. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, notification bell. That way you know when I upload videos. If you're watching on Daily Motion, subscribe, leave a comment, like, share, all of that good stuff. Thank you again to all who have listened and watched. I appreciate you more than you know. Be blessed.